Hey, this is the Fight Nerd, and joining me now after Bellator 59 is Bellator CEO Bjorn Rebney. Bjorn, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
You're just okay. You seem a little distraught today in the press conference because, as we know, Bellator 59 wrapped up, unfortunately, with a little bit of a sour note when Eric Prindle took a lovely soccer kick right to the junk, courtesy of Thiago Santos. I know we haven't heard back yet, but thoughts on the fight and the future of the heavyweight tournament contenders?
The heavyweight tournament going into tonight was great. It was electrifying, and there were a lot of big knockouts and finishes, and it was spectacular, and tonight didn't follow suit. One of the things you can always count on when guys enter the cage is that the unexpected is expected, and tonight was the unexpected, and it wasn't what I would have liked, and I don't think it's what Eric Prindle would have liked or what Thiago Santos would have liked, but it is what it is. It happens, and it's what makes it a sport and not theatrics. So it's unfortunate, but we'll get those two back in the cage in a few months, and they'll finish business.
As you know, Bellator, you've kind of come to expect the unexpected with this company, and tonight was a perfect example of that. Let's take another look at another match that kind of went the way not many people suspect, and that was Philippe Nover versus Marcin Held. And let's talk about that fight right now. Do you agree with that decision?
If there's one thing I've learned over the last 60 events that we've done, it's that I always am better off refraining from commenting until I've had a chance to watch a fight, with the sound off, with no audience around, without having to worry about going into the truck or working on production. So I think, it looked like a very close decision. It looked like Nover was forcing the pace, and it looked like Marcin was actively pursuing every conceivable submission that you can do on the ground, specifically those involving legs. So, I'll wait and see. I don't know. And I know it was tight. I know it was close. And I know that two of my guys that were sitting next to me said they thought Marcin won, and then two of my guys that were sitting off to the right said they thought Nover won. So, I don't know. I'm going to watch it, and I'll give you an opinion in a week.
Now, that's the second opinion, but the first opinion, who did you have winning this fight?
Actually, between those two? To be honest with you, that was the first fight out of the box, so I didn't see the entirety of the first round. I saw the second and the third, and I would have given the second and the third as a toss-up, one round each. So I didn't see the first because I was literally down at the truck watching the tees, rolling through production elements with the team as I typically am when the first fight goes into the cage. So didn't see it, but I would have given one round to one guy and one round to the other. So it depends on how
you're a busy guy. We understand.
Would have called the first? I don't know. But again, I watch, but I'm watching peripherally. I'm watching, I'm talking to people, I'm running out to do an interview, and I'm getting a bunch of stuff going on. People are asking me questions about timing and format, so I'm not watching it like a judge, nor am I watching it like you and I might watch a fight when we're at home watching TV. So I'm always a little uneasy saying, oh, I think this guy won. I did that once about 6 or 7 weeks ago when Alexis Vias fought Marcus Galvon, and then I watched the fight when I went back home, and I scored it like a real judge, and I actually thought it was the right decision. But when I came out right after the fight, I reacted emotionally because everybody cage side reacted so poorly, and I kind of went with that sentiment. And I think that's always kind of a mistake. If you can back up a little bit and just keep your kind of emotions, with the top on the container, I think you're probably better off. So.
Did you have a chance to catch the very short fight between Pellegrino and Pitbull?
That I did. What did you think? Did
you think that was an early stoppage, or was it justified?
Here's what I think. I think that Pitbull is amazingly dangerous standing, and he has, and I'm a huge Toby Amata fan, and Toby Amata had never been knocked out when he faced him, and he sent Toby Amata to the hospital. He took Razor Rob out of commission for 5 months out of the mixed martial arts game based on one overhand right. So I'm not going to argue with a referee that stops one of the most dangerous strikers at 155 pounds on earth from hitting a really, really good guy in the head repeatedly. So I'm just going to bank on the fact that he had a better view than I did, and he made the decision he made. Kurt Pellegrino is a warrior at the highest level. So if you're ever going to give a guy a shot, he would be the guy to do it. But that's a very, very dangerous lightweight in Pitbull.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room outside of this event. Eddie Alvarez, Shinya Aoki, will it still happen?
Well, it is still an available fight for us, and it's still contracted. So, as I said earlier, I've got to sit down and talk with Ed. I've got to sit down and talk with Ed and figure out exactly the road that he would like to pursue and what he would like to do. And he's as smart as they come in the MMA game, and a great guy and an easy guy to work with as well, total professional. So we'll sit down and we'll talk to him. I like the fight because I think it's a great fight back for Ed, and it's not a great fight back where you're kind of laying out the carpet for him. It's a great fight back against a top 5 or 6 ranked guy in the world at 55, And it's a, I mean, I still think Ed beats almost everyone in the world. He had a bad night against Mike Chandler, but Mike Chandler looked unbelievable last week. It was a new Mike Chandler. If he gets any better, I don't know what we're going to do with him. But, we'll sit down, we'll talk to Ed, and we'll figure it out. But the Aoki fight is still out there. Obviously, Aoki's going to fight on New Year's Eve in Japan. And we'll see what happens in that fight. Hopefully he's not injured. But I still think there's a high likelihood we'll see the Ed fight in late February with Aoki.
And last question, since Bellator Season 5 is coming to a close here, what was the fight of the year for you?
The fight of the year was Ed Alvarez versus Mike Chandler. I've seen.
No hesitation.
I was counting last week on Saturday because I was going to go up to the press conference and I wanted to talk about the significance of the fight. And I figured that between the fights that we promoted and that I've been part of as the head of Bellator, and the fights that I've watched as a fan with my buddies drinking beer and eating pizza, and the live events I've been to, I've probably seen over 1,000 fights in total. It's the best fight I've ever seen. So it was a fight of the year. It was a fight of my MMA watching career as well. So, and that's including everything I've seen in Japan, all the old, I've got VHSs from Pride from years ago that you can't even use anymore because nobody has a VHS machine. But, well, there you go. I'll have to send some of those over to you. But, it was the best fight I've ever seen. I mean, just back and forth, elite level guys. And just, I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was a spectacular fight. I wish they could have kind of maybe fought 3 rounds there or 4 and then brought a round or 2 to this event. Would have been nice. Would have been a nicer end.
Well, Bjorn, thank you for your time. We'll see you in 2012 for the next season on Spike.
Yeah, you will. Thanks, bud.